They say heavy lies the head that wears the crown. If that's true, he's got the heaviest head in the world at the moment. Welcome, Virat.
Thanks, Robbie.
How are you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
How's it been?
Yeah, good. Not bad.
You enjoying
Busy.
it?
Yeah, it's been getting more and more hectic every year, but yeah, the fun of IPL is back to normal times, traveling home and away. The crowds are back. People are loving it all over again. So very happy.
But you've been busier than ever. As in, IPL comes around. Yes, you travel a lot, but I think you and the likes of you are possibly the most busiest in this period of time, because when you're not playing cricket, you're doing shoots for teams.
Yeah, that's one part of IPL that's always been there. Of course, with the league growing in stature, in value, and all those kind of things, the media commitments become more and more sponsorships have come along. You look at the value of the teams that have, since the time that we started playing for RCB to what the value is today.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's an amazing growth, and we are all part of that whole process. So, yeah, it's become more hectic. But there's a certain charm to it as well. There's like that excitement in the air when you do all kinds of activities, whether it's shoots, team events, practice sessions. There's always this buzz and excitement in the IPL, and I think that's the main reason why the league has continued to grow.
But you're someone who's gone 100 miles an hour for the last 10 years, non-stop. How do you sustain it?
Well, of course, fitness plays a massive part. I was lucky enough to work with Basu sir from day one, who understood the demands of the level that we play at, and who was brave enough to let me know exactly what's needed for my body. And then it was upon me to make that call and follow his suggestions. I did that, and then it changed my career forever. He introduced me to stuff that I hadn't even thought of. You know, we used to think of doing weights in the gym and all these kind of things as something that could cause injuries, because that's the school of thought we came from. But then he changed my notion towards it, and when I saw the results, it was amazing. But apart from having done all the physical work, I think it's the will to continue to compete at the highest level that actually makes you want to put that energy every ball that you're a part of. And I was actually talking to Harshal yesterday in the gym. Said the thing that makes you run non-stop in a T20 game all over the field, and then bat and run and hit sixes as well, is the will to do it. When we warm up and we play football, we can carry on for an hour. But if you ask me to run 2 laps of the ground, I'll be gassing out in a lap and a half, and you'll be like, is he the guy that's so fit? Because I'm not mentally there. So I figured out that mental freshness for me is the most important thing. And if I'm excited for something, then I'll give my absolute best for it. So I've maintained that balance well till now. It became difficult. It became difficult in between, I won't lie. I mean, things got very hectic. But then you had to step away. In times where everyone's trying to, grab more and more, I was like, if I keep being a part of this rat race, I'm gonna go into a space which is very unhealthy. So me taking time off the game was probably the most important thing I needed at that moment. That brought back the freshness. And why, Robbie? The answer is very simple. For me, it's a privilege and an honor to be in the position that I'm in. I don't take anything for granted. I don't feel entitled for anything here. I need to earn everything to be able to compete at this level, because there are many people who might be working harder than me and who want this more than me. So if I have the opportunity, I need to be honest with it. That's something that I think is God-given, and I'm grateful that I stay in that space all the time, where I just put my head down and I want to work as hard as possible, and then it makes it easier for me to be intense, energetic on the field.
So just beautiful segue into my next question, because Shah Rukh Khan once said that I work for the myth that Shah Rukh Khan has become. Do you feel like that as well, with the way you have to conduct yourself, with the expectation that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, every time you go out to bat, every time you're out in public? Does that weigh on you as well?
Look, I won't be dishonest with you. I was doing that for a long period of time. Till the point that it became so unhealthy, where I was trying.
मैं इंडिया को सपोर्ट करता हूँ हर स्पोर्ट में. चलो साथ में चीयर करते हैं इंडिया को हर स्पोर्ट में.
And to live up to the expectations and this idea of Virat Kohli in people's heads. It's like, this guy has to operate this way, and he has to present himself in a certain manner, and that was eating me up from inside, because I've never been a guy who tried to pretend or portray something that I'm not. So I just wanted to be authentic, and I was like, I cannot continue to live like this. I mean, I cannot feel one thing and then suppress it so much that is causing harm to me. And if I can't be healthy inside out, then I can't be of any value to people around me. I don't want to be a burden to anyone. I can't be of any value to my sport. I can't be valuable on the field for my team. And it's not fair on anyone. So I just felt like I need to be my authentic self. And if that means admitting that I was mentally weak, I was suffering, so be it, because there are many people who might be in the same situation and they might be able to relate with it and gain a bit of strength from the fact that is this guy who's seen as mentally tough and, you know, he can handle anything and all those kind of things. But there's a breaking point for everyone. So
absolutely.
I stepped away from pretending and just being myself back all over again. And that put me in a happy space. The most important factor in that whole transitional period before the Asia Cup last year was the fact that I was willing to let go of everything. I was willing to accept that when I go back and play, it might be the last month of me playing competitive cricket, and I'm absolutely okay with it. I'm happy with where God has put me, and I wasn't in a desperate space. Everything became enjoyable, and I found that excitement all over again, which only happened because I let go of my insecurities.
You let go, you feel,
yes.
At that point.
Yes. For sure.
And having said that, do you find it difficult, or has it been a challenge for you in a sense to separate Virat Kohli the person, the human being, and Virat Kohli the superstar or the brand?
I was finding it difficult for a period of time, but then again, as I mentioned, I had gone so deep into living up to this identity of mine that I was going away from my organic self. And that wasn't pleasant. I knew that something wasn't right because I started holding on to things. I started trying to protect things.
Such as? Sorry to interject.
Such as, you know, can I afford to take the break? Shall I step away from the game? What if things are not the same when I go back? You know, what if I don't feel the same? What if I'm not seen the same way? I felt as vulnerable and as fearful as anyone.
Wow.
Which is a very normal thing to do. I mean, and that I think stems from the fact that I don't take anything for granted. So for all my performance in the past, it didn't give me a sense of, I can do whatever I want and step away. I was still saying, you know, hell, I need to justify me being there at all times. It is not a given that, you know, I'll be looked at as, don't worry, just let him play for as long as he wants. I can't be okay with that. I need to make sure that I'm giving my absolute best, 120% the whole time. And if I can't do that very organically, then something needs to change. But making the change, there were insecurities that propped up, and I had to disconnect myself from that. It was almost like living with a facade on top, and it didn't feel natural to me at all. It felt very, very made up, very artificial, which was not okay with me. I thought, like in batting, how we say, you'd rather get out to your mistake than your confusion.
Yeah.
Right? You'd rather get out to taking a guy on and getting caught at the boundary rather than trying to figure it out and getting nicked off, and you're like, I don't even know what happened there.
Yeah.
At least when you go for it and you make a mistake in execution, you can correct it and come back and say, you know what, I'm in a great space, I backed myself, and things will happen. So I just wanted to say, I'm going to live the way I want to live, and if that means that this is the end of the journey, so be it. I'm absolutely fine with it. It wasn't healthy to keep living with people's idea of who I should be rather than just being myself at all
Or who you
times.
could be, or who they want you to be.
It was actually what they wanted me to be very honest. When I met people all around the world, they're like, you know, we want to enjoy watching cricket, so we want you to get 100. I was like, so my achievements are actually something that they want to see to make them feel happy, which was weighing me down even more. I was like, man, this is like everywhere I go, this is the only response I get. I don't have many people asking me, are you okay, what's going on? None of that. It was like, we need at all times. So it was very difficult to process it because I couldn't be normal at any place. I just had these expectations flowing in on me from every nook and corner, and it became very, very intense.
You touched upon.
हाँ शुक्ला जी, भिजवाना सिर्फ अल्ट्राटेक ही।
मान गया बेटा, पर अल्ट्राटेक ही क्यों?
आप ही ने तो कहा था कि घर जिंदगी में सिर्फ एक ही बार बनता है।
घर एक, मौका एक। इसलिए सीमेंट भी देश का नंबर 1 अल्ट्राटेक, इंडियाज नंबर 1 सीमेंट.
Technique then, you said, I'd rather get out doing my own mistakes than get out being in doubt. There was a period where there was, or there seemed from the outside that there could be certain doubts, and there were certain things that you kind of changed technically. What did that entail?
See, I was, again, because I was not in a space where I was comfortable with myself. I was looking for all kinds of excuses. Oh, it might be happening because of this or that or technical changes. But then you were in touch with me at that point of time as well. And beyond a point, I figured out people cannot feel what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Right? You sensed something with my body language and you said, are you okay? I just wanted to check in on you. That happened very rarely. Everyone was like, we observed this and this is the solution for it. I couldn't get the point across that whatever shortcomings you're visually seeing are happening because I'm not right here. Yeah. When you're not right mentally, your technique is all over the place because all you're looking to do is survive.
Yeah.
And in a fast-paced format, when you're wanting to survive and suddenly you have to hit,
yeah,
you look stupid because you're in no position to take that guy on. You don't have mental clarity, you don't have confidence, and you feel like, man, that innings looks so weird. So I felt like there was no technical issues. I just told myself I've done this for 15 years and I've constantly improved my game. It can't be a standstill right now that I suddenly have all the technical issues that prop up immediately. Like this has to do with something about the mental state that I'm in, and that was exactly the reason for all these errors. And then when I came back fresh, the bat started coming down straight. I started hitting the ball well again, and everyone was like, "Oh, you made some serious changes." I said, "I've not picked up a bat for 6 weeks. I've done nothing."
What did you do?
I was just walking. We were in London for a long time. We were just walking around, showing the world to our child, just being normal, just doing the normal stuff every day, watching her happy, watching her grow, doing what kids should do normally.
Yeah.
I was like, I've gone so out of touch with just normalcy and normal things that I was shocked. I was like, where have I landed up? Where have I pushed myself to? It was like, man, what kind of life have you been living? And I had to really go down to the ground level to feel happy and content again, because I didn't have any worries of falling from anywhere.
Yeah.
I took that step and I went down the step of stairs and I went down to a ground level. I said, fine, I can't fall further from here, so I'm okay, I'm relaxed, I'm happy now.
Yeah, yeah. And how much did, I know that your family is very close to you and you're very close to them, and how much did your daughter kind of play a role in that whole process? Because I'm certain that, you've always mentioned Anushka, but we've seldom heard Vamika's name having an impact. I'm certain she's had an impact on you, and I'm certain that in that time away from the game, there was a lot of experiences that you shared with her that made you come back into who you are as a person as well.
What happens is when you go back from a space like this, it's not easy immediately to go, everything's so good and it's okay. That's why I say Anushka's name first always, is because she's seen the challenges of being in this position. She knows it. She's been there for so many years, and she still understands that what it takes to handle pressure, being a public figure. So her conversations with me have always been priceless, because she tells me the truth. Simple. There's no mollycoddling. There's no this, that. And no, this is what's
She's
going on.
real with you.
Because no one else is. It's always like some kind of layers and all that kind of stuff. And she's like, my responsibility with you is to tell you the truth, and so same thing for you as well. So how she spoke to me during that whole phase was something that kept me in check. I promise you, if I was left by myself just to figure it out, I would have become an egoistic maniac. Like I would have become even snappier or even more cranky. But for her to keep bringing me down to the base level to where two people should be in a relationship,
humbling
for
you
life.
in a sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
To be absolutely at the same level, to be normal, to grow together in life. And then when you have a child, the thing that you learn looking at the child is to be present.
Yeah.
And I was never present.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I was hardly present, and she does everything in the moment, and she's absolutely happy in just looking at a carrot and being happy looking at the carrot.
That's amazing. That's amazing, man.
मेरी फ्रूटी शेयर करूं? राम
आपकी फ्रूटी, आपकी चॉइस.
Sip it, drink it, love it.
Oof. You know, in 2011, you said this about Sachin Paji, that he carried us and carried Indian cricket on his shoulders for so many years, and he deserves to be carried, and we did this for him.
Yeah.
How does it feel like 15 years later to have been anointed his heir and, you know, his successor?
It feels surreal to me, to be honest. You know, when people compare me with him, I laugh it off every time. I'm like, these guys have no idea about the game or no idea about my journey as a child.
Yeah, I'm going to interject you there. I'm sorry. But I think knowing you as a human being from 2008 to where you are today, for you as a person to make that jump as an athlete and as a person to become who you are today makes me believe that anything is possible.
Yeah, I completely understand what you're saying, because you have seen me when I came onto the scene, and I'd say this to people all the time. I had talent, but I wasn't the most complete, or, you know, a guy who would make you go like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. I was good, and I was able to do a little bit with my talent, but I know I wasn't the most gifted guy around in terms of, you know, just taking the world by storm and just making things happen. I was very determined from a very young age, but I honestly, I mean, I have no issues in admitting that I never ever thought in my wildest dreams I'd be sitting here in my life at 34 in this situation, and being compared to him constantly is embarrassing for me. Because, I mean, I can understand where people come from, and stats and numbers tell you one thing, but you know, the impact a person leaves on you when you watch him play as a child, there's a very different feeling that emerges.
No, you're selling yourself short.
No, I'm not. I swear, I'm not. And I've never ever lied about this. For me, him and Viv Richards, they cannot be and should not be compared to anyone. And why I say that is because they revolutionized the game in their eras, where no one was thinking about playing the game like that. The generation that we are playing in, and you see so many match winners coming up and people just, you know, winning games out of nowhere. You see this IPL as well. The young guys, I mean, I couldn't even think of doing stuff that these guys are doing. Rinku Singh, what he did the other night, and, you know, all these youngsters coming in and hitting 5 sixes or 5 balls. I'm like, man, what kind of, you know, level is this? And the belief is what has been unlocked today on a regular basis. But these individuals, they did it at a time where no one else was doing it. And when you saw these people play, you were like, man, if he plays, we can win the game. That was very rare, to have so much confidence and belief on one person. And that's why they became, you know, the icons of their generation. So for me, Sachin Paji has always been an emotion. You speak to anyone, they always looked at him as one of their own. And that happens because there's so much faith in the fact that when he's playing, we feel comfortable, and he's our, you know, he's our source of inspiration, source of comfort, which we all look for. It's like eating home food, you know, the feeling that you get. You used to get that feeling when you saw him bat and he was scoring runs. You're like, life is good. So it's a very different kind of impact that he's left on me. So for people who enjoy comparing and stats and all those kind of things is okay. I'm just happy that in whatever little way or whatever way people see it, I've been able to carry that you know, expectation forward, in a sense that, you know, yes, I can nurture and keep continuing to provide to Indian cricket for as long as I play, and I know that my contributions are important, and I feel honored to be in this position, to be honest, that you know, I've been in a situation where I know, man, what an opportunity to leave the environment in a better place, the structure in a better place. So I take a lot of pride in that, and I'm just grateful that, you know, the transition was able to happen smoothly and it didn't kind of waver off.
I'd like to talk about that phase where 2020 to 2022, when you went without an international 100. That must have been obviously a hard time for you. And then it all came to an end with that 100 against Afghanistan. How did that feel for you?
You know, that whole phase, it was quite strange because for 10 months we didn't have any cricket. So I was like, man, I'm being judged for 6 games being played in 2020.
But that's the standard you set.
Yeah, but that was weird for me. At that point, I started feeling like this is not normal. You know, this is quite abnormal because I can't be scoring 60s and 70s and being asked in the post-match interviews, you must be disappointed. I'm like, for what? You know, I've got 70 runs. Why am I disappointed? So it was like...
it's not our fault, Chico. You got us used to such a high standard of performances from you that mere mortal performances weren't counted.
I understood what people, started perceiving from the outside, how they started looking at me or what they were expecting. I completely understood all of those things, but beyond a point it became, I actually let it grow on me, if I have to be brutally honest. From starting off with, yeah man, it's fine, I'm still contributing for the team. I knew that I was getting into positions where I could get a 150 and a 200 and I wasn't able to do that, so I felt so depleted and so beaten down by it. I was like, man, I'm not living up to my expectations. I mean, from myself, not from, from the outside. I know what I can do and I'm not able to get there and there's constant doubt. So, what's going on? That started eating me up from inside. And as I said, when I took that break before the Asia Cup, I was completely cooked. I was like, I need this. Otherwise, I'm going to go mad. And when I came back in the Asia Cup, I was excited. I was happy. I started batting well. I didn't think about the 100 at all, to be honest. And the Afghanistan game happened and Rahul Bhai said, are you keen to open tomorrow? I said 100%. I would love to open. I'm playing well and I would love to get the opportunity. I opened and I started hitting the ball. At the moment that the 100 happened, I actually laughed.
Yeah. Because
for a year and a half, I was so desperately after this moment. And when it happened, it was like this. And it fell off.
Yeah.
And I laughed so hard. I was like, man, I was stuck in a loop for so long for this.
For this feeling.
For this, like a fraction of a second. And I laughed so hard. And I was like, what a stupid guy I am, man. I wasted a year and a half of my life running after this. And it didn't even last a fraction of a second. And it's gone.
Yeah.
And I asked myself, now what?
Yeah.
Does life stop? No, it doesn't. Tomorrow, if you fail, the same thing is going to start again. So, great lesson for me in that moment where just be true to yourself and enjoy playing the game. Enjoy your craft and that's all.
Yeah. In that 1.5 years, were you hard on yourself? Were you unkind to yourself?
Very, very hard.
Yeah?
Very hard. I was doing things that were not me. Over practicing, trying to overtrain, constantly tired, overthinking, from my batting to what's the team going to do. If we lose a test match, how the hell are we going to come back? All those things which came very naturally to me. We'll lose a test match, don't worry. We'll just chill for 3 days and we'll get them the next game. Those things were not coming to me naturally. I was like, man, something's way off. And I was very, very hard on myself. I beat myself up a lot in that year and a half.
So let's jump to the IPL. So with the IPL, we've seen kind of batsmanship evolving over the last 15 years of the IPL. And we've seen... I still feel like some of the basic rules of batting in T20 cricket don't go away.
Yeah.
Are you still of that belief in the sense that sometimes it's important for someone to play an anchor role?
Yeah.
And
for sure, I completely agree with that. There are many people who because they've not been in those situations themselves, they look at the game very differently. Suddenly when the power play is off and they'll be like, suddenly they've started rotating strike. It's because when you haven't lost a wicket in the power play, usually the opposition's best bowler comes on to bowl. And what you're trying to do is trying to figure out your way for the first couple of overs so that you can get the last 2 overs for big ones against that guy. And then the rest of the innings become much easier. So I think it's the lack of the understanding of the situation from the outside that leads people to feel like, oh, people are slowing down or whatever. But there is immense value in... Because I play like that. I play cricket like that. And this is one of the things that helped me play in big tournaments, in big games with composure. I was always just bothered about the situation. I never went in thinking, today my strike rate should be 160. If the situation allows me to do that, my strike rate could be 230. There is no issues.
Yeah.
I can do that any day.
Yeah.
But I know the value that I put on my wicket and the value that my wicket holds for my team. is the reason I play for the situation. Otherwise, playing in T20 World Cups, for example, you can't go out there in a high pressure game and be like, you know what, I'm going to hit 6 fours in the first 10 balls. The game doesn't allow you to do that.
Correct.
In an IPL, you can still go and plan like that. But in big games, you cannot go in with that mindset. So what I do is I try to read the situation every time I'm in the middle, so that when there are pressure games, I'm able to replicate that, because under pressure, all your plans go for a toss.
Correct.
And what you need to do is adapt on your feet in that moment and find out a solution. And then your passion, your willingness to make the team win is what counts at the end of the day. Then all the solutions come to the fore. So I still believe good technique, understanding the situation can be applied to any format of the game, and I completely agree with that.
Brilliant. And with you, there's been something, especially when while you were talking, I was thinking back to that Pakistan chase in the World Cup, and that's something that's epitomized your cricket in a lot of ways. Where did that belief come from?
I have no idea.
That belief of, I'm going to win this game. When nobody sees light at the end of the tunnel, Virat Kohli somehow sees a glimmer of it. How?
Look, again, it's very, I cannot claim any of that. It's God sent. As long as I can remember me playing cricket and playing any kind of matches for club, for state, anything, I always had this mindset. I used to watch, Sachin Paji and all the Indian players play on TV, and when they failed to chase a target, I used to go to bed believing that if I was there, I would do it. And I was 8-9 years old, and I used to feel like, but how can I be so convinced about it? So today, when I'm in that situation and I'm chasing a score, all those feelings, they're in my system. So they come to the surface. What an opportunity.
Yeah.
When you're batting first, you don't know where the game's going. But when you're batting second, you know exactly what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And for you to have the chance to be the guy that makes your team win and walk out not out.
Yeah.
What better opportunity than that? So I don't look at anything as a pressure situation. I see the scoreboard when we're chasing a total and I see clarity.
Yeah.
I know exactly what needs to be done, and then it's upon my skill set and how much belief I have in myself that's going to take me to that target. So for me, it's a constant opportunity to get better and test myself every time we are under pressure and there's a score to chase.
Are you someone who listens to, say, what people are saying about you, say, before a tournament? Like the talk about you before the IPL is that he had the same average in 2016 when he scored 973 runs, and he had the same average going into the IPL, and now he has a better average than that. So we can see
it's just fantastical things. I see this sensationalization on the outside. I mean, people talk about 973 like it's 373 or something. It's like, I'm like, I myself feel that it was abnormal.
Yeah.
And I don't quite know how I ended up doing what I did in that season. So for me to be judged by that bar every time I play IPL is like, that's ridiculous. Like, you can't possibly get, I mean, someone can do that in the future, but you can't repeat that 900 or 1000 run thing so regularly. It's like, so I just focus on what I need to do, because I understand that a lot of things are built up in a certain way to promote it throughout the tournament, and when it starts getting interesting, then there's more to talk about. I've been there long enough to understand these things, so I don't fall for it anymore.
You don't fall for it anymore. No. Okay, good. And your relationship with RCB has been one that's run parallel for the last 15 years. And I remember when you came into the side, I came in a year later, spent a couple of years with you, and then the evolution began probably a little after that. How has that journey been for you and for RCB? How do you think both have evolved in this period of time?
It's been amazing, and I value this partnership, this journey with RCB so much is because for the first 3 years of playing the IPL, before the first retentions happened, they backed me a lot. The franchise completely backed me, and even when the retentions happened, they were like, "We want to retain you." And my only feedback to Ray Jennings, who was the coach at the time, was, I want to bat in the top order because I batted 3 for India. I would like to bat at 3. Said, you'll bat at 3 and we want to retain you. So they showed faith in me at the time that I needed it, because I was also growing in my international career, and I knew that if I play in the top of order in the IPL, then I'm going to be able to continue that, that kind of cricket that I play for the whole year, and it won't be a stop-start kind of a situation for me. So that is of more value to me than anything else, because a lot of people, I won't take names, but another franchise who I spoke to at the time they were not keen enough to even listen to me about
Wow.
potentially, because I was playing low down the order, if you remember here, and I was like,
yeah, at
you know,
4, 5,
if I can get opportunity to play at the top of the order somewhere else, and that same franchise then, because I'd played for India and had performed, in 2011 before the retention, they came to say, oh, can you please come into the auction and we would like to. I said, no chance. I'm going to always stick with the franchise that backed me, and there is no looking back for me now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's interesting that there was actually a conversation even at that point in time.
Yeah, it was, and they denied it straight away, and I was like, no, fine, fair enough.
Fair enough. What's the best part about being a father, Virat?
Ooh, the best part about being a father is that life happens to you, man.
Yeah.
That is life. That is the real stuff. You know, to have firstly the blessing of having a child, the opportunity to see another small human grow in front of you literally on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It's something that you obviously have experience of and can't be put into words. And just the constant evolution that you need to always be a part of.
Yeah.
To, you know, grow as a parent is something which I don't think anything else in life can make you change and evolve that much.
Yeah.
Than, you know, wanting to be a parent and wanting to see your child grow up better. So many changes that need to happen within you.
Yeah.
And how quickly you would make those changes is the most stunning thing. You know, you won't do. You'd be so rigid for so many other things, but when it comes to that little human, you're like, so man.
So we know that Vamika's got him around her little finger.
Always.
That's a long way of saying that much.
always.
Thank you so much, Virat. This is an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, man.
Always.